in this beaker. So we'll set up a few balloons here and ask the question, how many of those do you think I can fit in this beaker here?
All of them.
Okay, you guys do. Well, let's see if I can really fit all of them in here, and so we'll try this. And it turns out the answer is you're right. We can fit all of those balloons into. And so in case you haven't guessed it already, this is, we've just got some liquid nitrogen that we poured into our beaker here. We just brought it over from the chemistry building in a bit of a dewar. And the nice thing about liquid nitrogen is it turns out to be kind of cold. Minus 200 degrees below 0 Celsius. So about 77 Kelvin if you've taken a chemistry class. We usually use that number to talk about temperatures. And so what we got happening here actually is, we throw that in there, it's so cold but it's actually turning that little bit of air that's in those balloons from a gas to a liquid. So we'll set that one right there. It's actually turning that little bit of gas. Yeah, that's kind of how to turn a smiley face into a frowny face. So it's turning that little bit of gas into a liquid. If we take it back out, it starts to warm up again, and that tiny little in it, and really the answer is not much. We can do that a few times, that's okay, really. But in order to give you an idea of what would happen if I decided to stick my hand in there for a little while, let's see here. Oh, we'll put a nice piece of beef here. Let's put that in there for a minute. And I got something else here, a couple of other things here. I don't want to make too much of a mess of Umsu's carpet, so we'll try and behave myself this afternoon. But if you ever see me do this in a lecture theater, you can understand why the janitors are happy when I'm done my class. There's your finger on liquid nitrogen, guys. It turns all that water basically instantly into solid ice. And if you did put your finger in there long enough, well, you'd not be able to count to 10 anymore. And so let's see what else we can throw in here. This worked really well the last time I tried it, so we'll throw that in there. Oh, I'll put some more. Only actually. Let me put this here. Top this up here, and we'll come around in a bit and give you all, maybe not all of you, give some of you brave volunteers a chance to see what's going on here. So let's see how those mushrooms are working out. They're still kind of fizzing away there. So I can maybe put some of these here. So if you put those in, it actually sprays just a little bit of liquid nitrogen out of the bottom there. And you can put your hand over that liquid nitrogen for a while, and it's just evaporating off my hand so quickly that all it's leaving behind is just a little bit of condensation. Take that out of there. Throw that in there. Throw that in there. Let's put this here. Throw a couple of these in too. You won't forget. Some blackbirds too. These work actually probably a little bit too well. I'm only going to put one or two in and see if I can fish them out later. These little blackberries turn into little blackberry grenades if you freeze them in liquid nitrogen. If we were in a classroom, I'd leave some more evidence of what that can do, but I won't in here. I don't want to have a cleaning bill for this carpet. The other question sometimes is what happens if I pour liquid nitrogen into water. You've seen this 1,000 times, although you may not have recognized it. That's just that cheap B-horror movie specialist. Oh, look, strawberries. I've never tried a strawberry before. Let's see what that does. Oop, things are getting a little solid down the bottom there. We can make a little bit of a mess, okay? More than a little bit. Mushrooms work really well. Let me see if I can do this on my cards. Oh, here's that blackberry I was telling you about. Well, that one's working. This one here. What's that hand in there? Oh, that one's getting away. So you can actually skip a tomato. See, this is what happens when you become a professor. You can bring somebody else along to clean up your mess. And that makes that banana, frankly, so hard that I can pull that banana out of there. I might use one of these. And I can actually use that banana to take and pound a nail. Or even a piece of wood. There's some I wouldn't touch that too hard. It's 200 degrees below zero. You'll wind up with a bit of frostbite. But you can if you want. I don't have much of this left, but we can do a bit of a show here. If you want, you can actually handle liquid nitrogen. So I've got a little bit in the cup here that I'll bring around. I've got another. Oh, there's that strawberry. I forgot about that. Let's see. Oh, I hit that glove. That's still pretty solid. He didn't get much of the liquid nitrogen in there. You can actually put this on your hand. You can actually pour a little bit on your hand and it just rolls right off, actually. So I've got some in here. Who's brave volunteers? You're going to be holding something that's 200 below zero. You won't notice it right away, but it won't take long before you start feeling its effects. So I'll splash a little bit. I'll go around. Who else wants to try this? Stick your hand out. Pull your sleeve back just a little bit. No, don't hold it really tight. Stick your fingers out like that. Careful, I got a little bit on you. That'll evaporate in a second or two. Just give me a yell if that really starts to hurt. Sometime or other, if you like it or not, nitrogen that made me a scientist. And what it was, I saw this show, and I forget exactly how old I was, but I was about 10 or 12 years old. And I saw this guy, and at the time I had no idea who he was. I now clearly understand that he was a nearly retired chemistry professor. He looked like a chemistry professor, big bushy beard, kind of frizzy white hair, and he was doing one of these shows. And the thing that he did that I have still yet to try, and this is why he was doing it when he was very late in his career and had little left to lose, is he took a big jar of liquid nitrogen like this, and he drank some of it. And then he sprayed out the biggest cloud that you've ever seen of gas in the air. I have yet to try that, and I might wait a while till I know how to use my voice until I can maybe try that experiment. But one of the other things that he did was sort of, I thought, a neat way to end his show. So I'll do that here today as well too, to clear my salad off. And so, oh, I got something, I'll pull that last mushroom out of there just to get him out of the road. And so I know you're all here for the point of you guys being here is to volunteer to go out into schools and do some science. And my point here really honestly is that it doesn't have to be real fancy or high-tech science. A simple little show can go a long way as long as you're kind of enthusiastic about what you're doing. And a frozen mushroom doesn't hurt. So I'll finish off my show the same way that I saw this guy on TV do this all those some years ago now. And, well, today was a little bit warm, but oh geez, please don't tell the poor lady over at the flower shop when I do these things. Every time I buy a flower from her, she's really concerned about me walking back to my office with it and making sure it doesn't freeze on the way over. So if somebody tells her what I do with them, she's going to be a bit upset. And so, the point is, when you're going out to the schools, guys, a little bit of enthusiasm can go really a long way. All right, everyone, have a great Thanksgiving.